In closing, I want to highlight a few points. The importance of organizing ourselves as women at the macroeconomic and international level so that our voices can be heard as we redefine the rules of the world economy. In the Doha round, if it does get revisited, as it will follow the current economic developments and crisis, women have got to play a part and define what an equitable future should look like. Secondly, at local economic level, women must work together to address both subsistence needs as well as seize opportunity for trade and economic development. In that respect, national, regional, and international networks become very important because through such networks, we are able to deploy the skills. Thirdly, the financial crisis is a wake-up call for women. We have to stand up and be counted. We now know that the big boys don't know it all. In many respects, we have looked down upon microcredit, cooperative banking, and all these other relatively humble approach to the economy because we thought that the people in suits were in charge and they knew what they were doing. We know they were not, and we also know that it is a big scam. We therefore should make sure that women go in front, assert themselves, because there are no big brothers. We are the big sisters. In my country and in my language, Zulu, we have a saying which says that which the man can't solve has to be reported, and it ends there. It doesn't say reported to who. Clearly, it has to be reported to women because men have failed to do it, and that time has come, and women must answer the call. Investors also need to understand the importance of patient capital, where you invest not because you must get profits tomorrow, you invest because in a sustainable manner, you must be able to change the paradigm and to get sustainable return, and not only to be greedy and to expect to get it all and to get it now. The situation that we are in right now has a lot to do with uncontrollable and immeasurable greed that we've seen in the world economy. We also need to invest much more in education, in the functioning of the systems that educate our people, and of course, in public education that will make sure that pandemics such as the HIV and AIDS do not devour our people. I thank the organizers very much who are responsible for putting together this event. I want to thank also my High Commissioner who has collaborated with us to make it possible for us to be here, as well as the Australian High Commissioner in Pretoria, who also worked very much with us to ensure that we get here. Thank you.
Thank you, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. We'll just have a short conversation with Phumzile now. Phumzile, it's all very well to say women must engage in the conversation about the global financial crisis, but how can that happen? In your country of South Africa, is there an opportunity for women to be listened to be a part of that conversation, or is the upcoming election, for instance, a chance for that?
Well, the election, yes, because women are in electorates, and I think in many countries, actually women are the majority of voters. If we make that a campaign issue, it is so topical, it is so hot, we actually should be able to put it in the radar screen. But also, I think that in the same way that we have organized for the many things that women have campaigned for, those same methods of putting those issues on the agenda must still be valid, and we must actually use them. The point I'm trying to make is that we must not see this issue as the boys' issue, because they don't have it under control. As we address issues of childcare, etc., we've got to prioritize this issue of the world economy, because it is our issue as well.
In your country, do you think this upcoming election might be a chance, with this issue on the agenda, for more women to campaign and be elected? Is that the only way that those issues are going to be more pointed and more on the table in your country?
the election of women is one, not just any women who are sussed on this issue, but also whoever gets elected has got to have these issues on their agenda.
Speaking more broadly about the situation of women in South Africa, and in particular, the ANC has now been in power for many years. How many years?
15 years.
15 years. Has the situation changed for women in your country?
Yes, it definitely has changed, but not enough, like in many other countries. There are milestones, but we still have a very long way to go.
Yet in Africa generally, the representation of women in leadership positions is relatively good, isn't it?
Relatively, yes, it's relatively good. But I think in many countries, including my own, you're starting from a very, very low base in terms of addressing the women's issue. So even though progress has been made compared to where we'd like to be, I just think that this is not time to celebrate yet.
And one of the most basic aid issues that aid agencies are constantly dealing with, and the people, of course, living there are dealing with, is just very basics like food and water. And women, so often women can't go get an education because so many hours of every day are spent just getting the water from the well and bringing it back to the village, getting the food, finding the food. What can be done to relieve that load from women? What at the very basic level?
Well, I think the investment priorities of many countries tend to be wrong, where a lot of resources do not necessarily go to the things that you and I would see as absolute priorities and the things that need to be done first. So that from the limited resources that are available, you find that in some cases, water, health, etc., comes after a fancy building, which can wait while you are providing these other services.
So, as you sit here, we're at a development forum. Is there a message that you would like to give to those working on the ground in development, to those collecting the development dollars and trying to make some change? What should be the priority?
Yeah, you know, the people who have money, development agencies, can be very good in making conditional grants, sometimes very bad conditions. But I'm just saying that if you were to make conditions around this issue as one of the issues around which when you provide a grant, you'd expect the countries that you're working with to address, you'd actually giving the whole message even greater momentum.